Hey everybody, it's Stacy Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource, and today I'm going to do a detailed driving tour for y'all of the Piney Creek neighborhood in the City of Centennial, and it's on just east of Parker Road at Orchard, as far as an intersection if you're looking on a map. And it's going to be about 45 minutes or so, 45 minutes to 50 minutes from downtown, maybe 40 minutes from the Cherry Creek area without traffic. And then if you're going to DTC, 15 to 20, maybe 25, depending on traffic, to go to the DTC area as well. So very popular area, very, very desirable neighborhood, but let's go ahead and get started and I'll give you all more information as we go. Okay, so I'm getting started on the south side of the Piney Creek neighborhood, just passing the pond and some of the community amenities that I'm going to talk about when I turn in. So right now I'm heading west on Orchard Road, and I'm going to turn north on Joplin here in a minute and turn into Piney Creek. So, as I mentioned, Piney Creek is near and dear to my heart. My husband and I, after we moved here, we rented for about 6 or 7 months, and then this was the first house that we purchased was here in Piney Creek. So, largest HOA in the City of Centennial, and I'm actually going to turn into the Clubhouse here for y'all so you can see some of the amenities. So on the southwest corner of the neighborhood, we've got the Clubhouse, which you can reserve as a resident, which is awesome because there's a kitchen in there, there's a projector screen, tables, chairs, all that kind of stuff. We have an Olympic-sized pool with a community competitive swim team. We have a small wader pool as well radar detector. So we have a small wader pool that's only 2 feet in a separate fenced area, which is really nice for people that have small kids like myself. We have 8 tennis courts, 4 on the east side of the amenities, and then 4 on the west side, on the other side, that I'll do a quick swing through. And the east side tennis courts were all just resurfaced last year, like scraped down to the concrete, new surface, new coating, and everything. So those are really nice. We do have competition tennis teams as well that play in there. And instructors, we have a tennis instructor, a tennis pro that'll do classes. We've got the playground over here, which is awesome. As someone that has 2 little kids, that's been really nice. And then up to the right is also the pond, and there's benches, there's barbecue grills, and that's actually a really nice setting that a lot of residents use for photos. So, graduation photos, and they have their photographer come out, or prom photos or things like that where they want an outdoor setting. It's really pretty. It's a nice backdrop for a lot of that. So all of these are included with the Piney Creek Recreation Association. So there's 2 HOAs for Piney Creek. There's a maintenance and there's a rec. This is all of the amenities included with the rec side. And here you can get a little bit of a shot of the clubhouse. We got some cleaning and prep and stuff going on. So, and they're working on the flowers today. Our flowers are gorgeous. And I'll do a quick swing through of the other side and show you what we have over there. Most of the homes, not all, but most of the homes in Piney Creek belong to both HOAs, both the maintenance and the rec. So the majority of the homes have access to the recreation amenities, and those that don't have the option of purchase in. So over here we actually have construction going on because we're adding pickleball courts, which I know a lot of the residents are really excited about. So we're going to be putting in 2 pickleball courts and a sport court, and that's going to be fenced just like the tennis courts as well. And you can see we've got another gazebo with benches, and playground and everything over here, and there's lots of green space for kids to run around. So in this west parking lot in the summertime is where there's weekly food trucks. I think it's every week or every other week, I don't recall. It depends on what time of year. So there's food truck nights where families can come out, and have grab some food from the food trucks and have a picnic and meet with the other families. So that's always really fun. And then the parade will come down here and meet at the clubhouse, the 4th of July parade, and lots of different fun community amenities here in Piney Creek. So, and I'll talk about each of the filings as I go through. Like I mentioned, this is the largest HOA in the City of Centennial. So I'll turn in here to the Glen. I think we've got 14 filings. I'd have to double check. I'm pretty sure there's either 12 or 14 filings. So I'm going to turn into the Glen and kind of give you a rundown. I'm not going to be able to cover all the filings in an appropriate amount of time because I shot this once and it was like 40 minutes long, and I'm sure most people don't really care to watch that. But if you do, let me know. Leave a comment down below and I'll post up the long one if y'all actually want to take the time to watch it. So majority of Piney Creek homes were it was built over a long period of time because there's over 1,840 homes that belong to the Piney Creek Maintenance Association. And then, like I mentioned, there's a few less that are part of the rec. But it was started, the first filing is the Lower Knolls, and we'll swing by that. That was started in 1983, and there were a bunch of different builders. I think there were 6 or 7 different builders in the Lower Knolls, and so it was much more semi-custom. Each builder had a few different floor plans, and so much less cookie cutter, very, very good build quality for the time. And but because of real estate cycles and how large the community was and how development happened over the next couple decades, Piney Creek, I think the newest home in Piney Creek is actually like 2007. I'd have to double check as far as build year. So it was actually developed over about 20 years. And because of that, some of the filings look a little bit newer, some look a little bit older. Actually, Piney Creek Village might have been even up to like 2008. So, but you can see here in the Glen, these were mostly early 90s. So a little bit more cookie cutter feel, but still decent lot sizes. A lot of these houses are pretty large. So above ground, you're talking at least 2,000 square feet. Some of them are closer to 3,000 or 3,500 plus your basement space. And all of your Piney Creek homes are going to have a basement. Most, I would say, some of them are finished, some of them are not, and a lot of cul-de-sacs. So depending on the filing you're in, Glen doesn't have too many cul-de-sacs. Just ran into the one that we've got here. Lower Knolls and Upper Knolls are almost all cul-de-sacs, but other filings like the Terrace and the Estates have very, very few. So, and they are just, more of kind of like the outer square, inner square with a couple cut throughs and a little bit more variety of layout. So actually we're going to come out over here back onto Joplin, and this will give you an idea. And the Summit is across the street. That's another one of the filings, a little bit smaller filing, newer build because you've got the concrete tile roofs and things like that. So lots of really nice flowers, lots of walking space, very, very well manicured grounds, which is what a lot of the residents really like Piney Creek for. And you can see these fences are HOA maintained. So anything that's next to like an HOA common ground space is going to be, those fences are HOA maintained. We've got the benches and one of the free little libraries on the left side. We've got a few free little libraries throughout the neighborhood on the walking passes. I think we've got 6 or 7 benches we put in a few years ago. And the reason I say we is because, like I mentioned, my husband and I, when we bought our first house after moving to the Denver Metro, we bought it here in Piney Creek and absolutely loved it. Lived here for 5 years. And then about a year ago, we moved down the street to Foxfield, but we still own this house in Piney Creek and we rent it out currently. It's been a great investment for us. We definitely want to hold on to it. We love the community. And it's a fantastic rental. There's very, very few rental homes here in Piney Creek. So it's mostly owner-occupied. I'd have to pull the stats to see how much, but very, very highly owner-occupied ratio. So you can see a lot of people out walking. It's a Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's August, so it's a gorgeous day today. Not as hot as usual, but that's why we don't have a lot of garage sales. In June and July, you'll see a lot of garage sales going on. But people are walking all day, every day. There's always people out. So in the winter time, the HOA actually pays to plow a lot of the sidewalks. So there's still clear sidewalks for people to walk on, even in the winter. And here we're coming up to the Four Corners at Crestline and Memphis or Progress. So if I go straight, it turns into Progress and comes out on Buckley. But these Four Corners are really, really nicely lit up in the winter as far as Christmas lights and everything else. And you see our flowers are gorgeous and everything's in bloom right now. And all the Christmas lights through the holiday season are always really pretty throughout the community. We do interior lights as well as exterior. So as I mentioned, my husband and I, we still own our property here. We really like it. And then I've actually been on the HOA board for, gosh, almost 6 years now, shortly after we purchased. So that gives me a little bit of insight into what's going on in the community. And I mean, after being on the HOA board here, I really appreciate so much more having an HOA. And I'm not going to get into, HOA versus not HOA. I know everyone's got their own opinions on that, depending on their experiences. But for me and for us, it was a really good fit for a period of time. So, and it's very well managed, very well funded, and very responsibly managed, and I greatly appreciate that, because I know not all HOAs are that way. So as I've been driving through, so I'm on Laredo now, I'm going to drive by up by the high school and show you. So we actually have 3 schools. I'll probably come out on Buckley and show you the east border a little bit of the neighborhood, and kind of show you a little bit of the shopping around nearby. So we've got Hilltop, we've got the Estates, and a couple, and the Terrace, and the Meadows that I passed. And then here the fence changes, because this is actually a separate HOA on the left. This is Shenandoah. It's a smaller gated community. And then on the right we have Laredo Middle School, which is part of the Cherry Creek schools. And then we're going to go by Smoky Hill High School. So we've got elementary, middle school, and high school all within the neighborhood. Obviously they're going to pull in, kids from other neighborhoods nearby based on the school district and the boundaries. And Cherry Creek Schools is actually has school of choice as well, so you can get on a waiting list to get a spot at a different school that's in the district. And a lot of people try to do that for these 3 schools because they really, really want to. They're very popular, and my kids are not school age yet, but looking into that, it's definitely, I understand why people do it. Northern border here is Smoky Hill Road. So I'm going to pop up on Smoky Hill and show you a little bit of the grocery and stuff nearby. There's a couple larger retail centers that are really close and easy access for Piney Creek. So one of them is going to be here at Smoky Hill and Buckley. And you can see Smoky Hill High School here on the right. And then just to talk a little bit to Aurora Centennial border, it's very patchy going along Smoky Hill Road, heading southeast towards Southlands and 470. So on the north side of here, we have Pheasant Run and the Pheasant Run neighborhood and Aurora, but depending on where you're at, some of this is going to be Aurora, some of it's going to be Centennial. And I'm not going to go into the city history and all of that, but if you're looking on a map and you see the same zip code and you see, 3 or 4 different cities in it, that's why. But on the right, we've got the Walmart Neighborhood Market. We've got Tully's Bar and Grill, which is really popular. The Neighborhood Market is where I did all my grocery shopping when I lived in Piney Creek. And then we've got the Bank of the West and Walgreens, and Wanapoke is still our go-to poke place. Imagerific is the ice cream place right next to the Walmart Neighborhood Market, and I love that place. You can get Licks Ice Cream, which is a local ice cream shop that's downtown. But for those of us that live out in the burbs or have kids and don't want to drive 30 minutes for local from scratch made ice cream, they have it down here in Imagerific. So great little hole in the wall ice cream shop. Just doing a plug for them. And Wanapoke is fantastic as well. You've got your UPS store and dry cleaners and a bunch of other basics in there. And this radar detector drives me nuts, guys. So anyway, let's pop into Morningside. So I'm back here in Piney Creek, coming off of Buckley. And you can see a little bit smaller homes. Most of these are still going to be 3-car garages in Morningside. And this is not quite entry price point. I'll do a quick swing through of Overlook to give you an idea of what the entry size and price point would be for Piney Creek homes. Morningside is, I would say, on the middle to lower end as far as price point, which is nice because you can see most of these are all still 3-car garages, and you're still going to have over 3,000 square feet when you include the basement space. And most of these have finished basements. Not all of them, but you can see a mix of brick and siding, a little bit more cookie cutter feel because these were a little bit later developed. So I believe Morningside, Overlook, and the Village, not Village Filing 7, there's 2 Piney Creek Village filings, which is very confusing, but the Village over here close to Buckley are the 3 communities that have to opt into the rec association, and so they have an option to work through the on-site manager to purchase a pass if they want to use, the pool and the clubhouse and all those other amenities, since they're not paying those HOA fees throughout the year like the rest of the homes are. And then we've got Village is very similar to Overlook, or very similar to Morningside, and then Overlook. So Village and Overlook have some shared driveways, and then Overlook are going to be your entry price point. So these are your smaller and cheaper homes in Piney Creek. Price point currently is August of 2021, and we've had crazy market here for quite a while, 6-7 years. But these are going to be like your 3-bed, 1.5 to 2 bath homes, Most of these are going to be 2-bath, plus a small basement with a 1-car garage. A couple of them have 2 cars, but most of them are going to be 1-car garage in here. And these are probably going to be low to mid 4s. I think our lowest purchase price for the year was $445, and that was actually an Overlook or Morningside house, Village house that I think someone flipped, and then they were able to update it and finish the basement, and it was a little over 3,000 square feet finished, and they sold it for $645 about a week ago. So we've also got the Ridge, so that gives you an idea as far as entry price point. You're probably looking about mid 4s. For right now. You might be able to find something low 4s right now if you get something in the Overlook that's not at all updated. But everything in Piney Creek is single family homes, but Village and Overlook will have some shared driveways. Right now I'm passing by Indian Ridge Elementary, so that's our elementary school that's actually surrounded by neighborhood filings. And there's a baseball field and another playground and everything in there. But honestly, I think that's like playground number 3 inside of the neighborhood. So we have lots of playgrounds and walking space, and it's very, very walkable in here. So I'm going to go south on Crestline, well, southeast, and come through the upper Knolls and down into, let's do the upper Knolls. There's also the Ridge on this section of the neighborhood, which is probably middle of the road. Ridge and Terrace and the Meadows are going to be middle to upper middle end. And then Upper Knolls is towards the higher end of Piney Creek as far as price point and size. And a lot of the Knolls are going to be larger lots. So Upper Knolls were developed a little bit later, mostly in the 90s, early 90s. Some late 80s, and then Lower Knolls were all done in 83 to I think about 86, 85, 86, somewhere in there. So, and those are going to be your larger homes, but older homes on a little bit larger lots. So you can see we've got one of the ranches over here on the right. Very few ranches throughout Piney Creek. So there's a handful in the Lower Knolls and Upper Knolls, maybe a couple in the estates. And I'd have to double check on the Terrace and the Ridge. I don't think there's any in the Glen or the Summit. So the ranches are very, very desirable just based on the community and for people that want to age in place, just because there's so few of them in our community, and just in Colorado in general that we don't have a lot of ranch homes. So just to wrap this up, I'm going to swing through the estates to give you kind of a top end price point. I'm not going to go across the street and do Piney Creek Village. I might swing over there and add that on real quick at the end, just to give you an idea. So on the south side of Orchard, there's actually another filing. It was the newest filing for Piney Creek that Builder was able to opt into our Maintenance and Rec Association. And so even though it's not physically in the same boundaries as the rest of Piney Creek, it is still part of the HOA and it is still part of the community. And those are newer homes, much more Spanish style, larger homes, smaller lots, but you're talking like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot homes. I'm also going to swing through the estates here that has the larger homes as well, and they're just not quite as new as Piney Creek Village, and they're interior to the neighborhood. So estates is going to be higher end of Piney Creek price point. Overlook is going to be the lower end. Everything else is going to fall across the middle and kind of range up. But the estates price point, you might be able to squeak in for 8s. I'd have to double check on the stats for the lowest price in the estates for a while. If it's all original to early 2000s and late 90s, sorry, we have a little, hey, watch your speed sign here, so it always sets off my radar detector. If you can't tell, the thing just annoys me more than anything else. So here in the estates, we've got a little bit larger monuments and much, much larger homes, still gorgeous flowers and everything. And price point, like I mentioned, you might be able to squeak in for the 8s. I'd have to check what the low end of estate sale prices recently have been. And then I think the most recent sale in the estates was $1.15 million. So most of these houses are going to be, 3,000 plus square feet above, probably even 4,000 to 5,000 square feet above ground plus your basement. So largest finished that I've seen is a little over 7,000 square feet total. So very, very large homes. You can see we've got a little bit, more semi-custom feel, mostly brick or stucco or stone and stucco combos, a little bit of siding on some of the second story of the brick homes. But overall, still very decent sized lots, but you just have a lot of house on it, so you don't necessarily have a lot of yard. All these are going to be at least 3-car garages. Most of them are going to be 4s. And all of these go into the same schools as everything else. So anyway, that gives you kind of a rundown of low end of Piney Creek to high end of Piney Creek, a lot of the amenities that I mentioned. Oh, cost on HOAs is currently $98 for most of the homes, because most of the homes are in both the maintenance and the rec association. And don't quote me, I think one of them is 55. I think rec is 55 or 56, and then maintenance is like 33 or something. It makes up the difference. I'd have to double check what the numbers are. I don't have them right off the top of my head, because I'm looking at so many HOA fees for different neighborhoods every day. But so right now they're just under $100 a month for both the maintenance association and the rec association. And that does cover everything that I mentioned as far as like the exterior grounds, the common fence areas, not for every house, but these fences that go along the sidewalks and the common HOA grounds. And your tennis courts and the new pickleball and sport court that we're going to have, and the playgrounds and the pond, and reserving the clubhouse. Lots of different amenities. And as you can see, the properties are maintained very, very well, which is one reason that our investment has been such a great investment for us. Just to give you an idea of our particular place, we paid a little over $4.25, or right at $4.25. I have to go back and check. Back in 2015, I think. Yeah, spring of 2015. And I would say, and we've done some upgrades and remodeling, because ours was all original from 1983, but I'd say we're probably pretty close to 700 on value, maybe a little bit higher since we've done some remodeling in the kitchen and the bathrooms and stuff, not total gut jobs, but definitely been a great investment for us, and we absolutely love the neighborhood. Average sale price in Piney Creek right now is $711,000, which is nuts to me, but that's the average sale price year to date for 2021. So if you have more questions or want to know more about Piney Creek or other surrounding neighborhoods, or thinking of moving here, please feel free to reach out and ask. Like I said, I've owned property here. I'm still on the board. I absolutely love this neighborhood. It's really, really close and near and dear to my heart, and I'm in it all the time. I absolutely love it. So please feel free to reach out if you're considering buying or selling in this neighborhood, or even if you just want a market update. I'll put a link down below where you can sign yourself up. I won't bother you and do a whole bunch of stuff, but if you want to request just a monthly email of, hey, here's what's selling in the area in the 80015 zip code, so it'll show you Piney Creek and surrounding neighborhoods. So feel free to sign up for that down below as well. And thanks so much for the time, and I'll pop in here real quick and I'll do Piney Creek Village and talk a little bit more when I get over there. Okay, so I'm heading between the majority of the Piney Creek neighborhood over to Piney Creek Village and turning east onto Orchard. I did just want to mention to y'all, right through here on the south side of Orchard is the actual Piney Creek Trail and Piney Creek itself, that supposedly has water running through it at some point, but we don't have a lot of water running randomly here in Colorado. It tends to be pretty dry, so not much of a creek most of the year. But to give you an idea, there's a skate park over here. There's a Trails Rec Center over here. That's actually Arapahoe County Rec Center. That's fantastic. And then following this trail, and if you head west, you can actually walk to Cherry Creek State Park. So, and there's a ton of stuff over there. There's a dog park, there's tons of open space, there's a beach, there's waterfalls, there's all kinds of awesome things. And so if you like to, if you're a cyclist or a walker or a runner, or you push your kids in the stroller or take your dog out, a lot of people in Piney Creek neighborhood love that they only have to cross Orchard Road, which is not nearly as busy of a road as Parker, and it's much safer to cross. And so that you can actually walk to a state park from your house. So a lot of people really, really, really enjoy that feature as well. But now that I've turned right and gone south onto Buckley Road, I'm going to come right in past the Trails Rec Center and show you the Piney Creek Village, just to round out everything that's included for that's part of the Piney Creek HOA and neighborhood. And so the rec center's on the right, goes down in there. Zumba classes, gym, climbing wall, pool, all kinds of stuff. Kid activities, everything. Really nice rec center. I'll link to that down in the description down below. But you can see for Piney Creek Village, much newer homes, a lot more stucco, Spanish style, concrete tile, or terracotta roofs. And these are very, very large homes as well. Mostly 3 and 4 car garages, much smaller yards, and open split rail fencing. So if you want privacy fencing, you'll need to stay like a 6-foot privacy fence. You'll need to be on the other side of Piney Creek. If you like the open or split rail fencing, then this is the only part of Piney Creek that has that. But absolutely gorgeous homes. Price point in here is going to be probably 800s up to maybe 1.1. Similar to the estates range, just depending on the condition of the homes and the level of updates. So anyway, there you go. So if you're liking my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're looking to buy or sell here in the Denver metro area, I would be happy to help, especially South Denver metro. I live here, I work here, I play here. I know these neighborhoods very, very well. It's where I'm at every day. And I'm happy to make recommendations on something that can be a good fit for you, as long as I'm fitting within my steering qualifications, making sure I'm not doing that. So anyway, I'll just keep driving while I'm chatting. But yes, I'll link to all the information for Piney Creek and surrounding areas over at Chambers and Parker. That's really close by. We've got major shopping center over there as well. So lots of things really close by. Commute time to downtown, just to round that out too. Sorry, ton of info that I'm trying to put in this video. That's why I can't keep it very short. But drive to downtown if you're taking Parker Road up to Leedsdale, over into Colorado, and somehow going in that way. You're probably going to be closer to... There's that guy again. If you're Leedsdale up into Cherry Creek area, not quite downtown, but in Cherry Creek, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes plus traffic. If you're driving during rush hour. If not, then I'll stop over here at the Village Park and give y'all just another park that's really close by. It's actually Arapahoe County Park, not a Piney Creek Park. But still a really nice one that I take my kids to quite a bit. And soccer fields and everything over here. So drive to downtown, you're probably looking 45 minutes plus, and plus traffic as well. And then for drive to DTC, it's actually not too bad depending on which way you want to go, because you have to go around Cherry Creek State Park. So you got a couple different options of getting there. 225 versus Arapahoe. It's nice to have a couple choices depending on what the traffic is that day. But driving to DTC, you're talking probably about 20 minutes. So not too bad at all. And I would say the furthest drive is if you're going to Lakewood, Arvada, even maybe Southwest Littleton. So if you're going northwest, that's going to take you a while. But commute time really isn't bad. It's really pretty easy to get to a lot of different areas. And price points are anywhere from those mid-4s that I mentioned all the way up to probably 1.1, almost 1.2. Excuse me at this point. So anyway, hopefully that gives you a great detailed explanation of the Piney Creek neighborhood in the City of Centennial. If you have more questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Reach out to me directly. Always happy to help. If you're liking the video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And if there's any other neighborhood tours you'd like me to do, let me know. I'm driving around all the time, guys. I'd love to show you, especially if you're moving here or want to know more about it. Then let me know what neighborhoods you're interested in. So I'll probably do some of the ones surrounding Piney Creek here just as I kind of drive the areas. I'll stop and take a few minutes and do each one. But thanks so much for the time, and y'all have a great day.